going to read Chapter 14, A Favorable Outcome. Pecking order. Kenny's father said the next morning as he walked up to his son and handed him the pitchfork. When the true leader is revealed, then there's a new order. It was the dawn after the big battle. The celebration had gone on late into the night, with Kenny and his friends reenacting bits and pieces of their performance for eager groups. Now, they were all back on the hill, cleaning up the aftermath of the enormous party. Of course, Porky's dad was nowhere to be found, but Porky was there. He turned out to be just as excited to see a real live dragon as Kenny had been, commenting that Graham seemed much hairier and scruffier than he'd imagined. In fact, several of Kenny's classmates, along with Charlotte, had arrived to help tidy up the hilltop. "Last night was a blast," Charlotte said, dropping the hilt from a broken toy sword into a garbage can, fluttering her eyes and putting the back of her paw on her forehead. She continued, "I've always wanted to be a damsel in distress." The little buck smiled. "Oh, Blatney," Graham said, sweeping his great cave entrance. "It looks like George is back and with a few friends." He pointed to the road, and there was the king's royal procession heading their way. Kenny's mother and father joined their son as the coach reached the summit of the hill. The young knights flanked the carriage as the driver hopped down and opened the door. Out came the jester, the royal sons, George, and finally the king himself. "Kenneth Rabbit," the king said as he approached the lad, "I had to stop by and speak with you before we head back home." Kenny gulped, glancing over at George. You don't have to do anything to Graham, do you?" he asked. "Heavens, no," the king said with a smile. "I want you, all of you," he gestured to the group, "to come to my palace and give your performance for the royal court." Kenny's mother gasped. His father whistled. "Wow, cool," Charlotte said. Kenny blinked. He looked over at George. The old knight was beaming. "My boys and I haven't had a good time like that in ages," the king added. "And George tells me this was all you're doing. So what do you say, lad?" Kenny turned and looked up at the dragon. "Sounds good to me. Graham, what do you think?" Graham looked down at everyone, smiled his toothy grin, and said, "You know, those royal cooks can make desserts you didn't even know existed. Have you ever tasted Australian lattice pie?" And that is the end of Chapter 14. Kenny, you did a good job. Thank you.